Welcome back to episode 54 of the Second Look Sports Podcast. I'm your host today, Justin Arenburg. Joined along with me is Brandon Brown, Alex Mandarino, and Christian Shinidi can't be with us today due to work schedules and dog groomings. It's a fun time. March is officially here. We are in conference play for all the March Madness college basketball teams that will be participating in March Madness that starts next week, but we'll have more about March Madness next week. Brandon, we have to start off the show by talking about the NHL. Yeah, we did a deadline show last week. We did a pre-deadline show and we did a post-deadline show. But the NHL just keeps on pumping out more news, and especially your Toronto Maple Leafs, who won their first game since February 3rd last night. But the game itself, like in terms of winning the game, is not what people are talking about today. Brandon, obviously, the whole Discord is around Auston Matthews taking a knee-on-knee from Rocco Gudis, who looks like he led with the knee in this situation compared to the game against Canada, where he was playing for Czechia in the Olympics, and it didn't look like it was like intentional against Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
This one looks intentional against Auston Matthews. He leads with the knee, he connects knee on knee, and the captain goes down. Usually, a lot of people on your team, if you are considered a team, will respond immediately, especially for the captain, and will go and ambush the guy, even if it was not intentional anyway. But this one being intentional, you would have thought there would be a big reaction. Well, the four guys on the ice, along with Auston Matthews, were William Nylander, Easton Cowan, Brandon Carlo, and Morgan Riley. Rocco Gudis did not have to fight any of those four guys, and he didn't even really have to hear from any of those four guys. So let's start there. What do you see? What was your thoughts when you saw that play last night?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was incredibly shocking to see Gudis take out Matthews that way. You know, Matthews all alone in the slot. He gets the puck. He's about to, fire off a shot, you expect, and then Gudis comes out of nowhere. Matthews kind of tries to step up, and then you see Gudis leading with his knee go right into, obviously, Matthews' knee as well. And yeah, you see him down on the ice in pain. And I think once you kind of realize what had just happened, you're looking around and there's nobody around him. There's nobody around Gudis, who I assume the referees pulled away right away and were leading him to the box. And then you start to see, Nylander and I think Riley skates over, and they're just kind of, standing over Matthews, and trainers out there. It was incredibly shocking. And then that eventually kind of faded into that same disappointment in terms of, nobody coming to his defense, nobody in the immediate, aftermath showing any kind of emotion, showing any kind of, backup to their captain. And, while it was disappointing, it's also unfortunate that it's what we've kind of come to expect from this team. And, it's a group of guys that haven't shown, the passion that we would usually expect from a hockey club. And unfortunately, it's just another one of those incidents that show kind of what this, team is all about. And I think it's just going to give people more fuel to the fire that they need to rip it down to the studs and start over. So, yeah, just a disappointing night. The injury itself, we don't know too much obviously about what's going on with Matthews, but at this point, you expect it could be something lengthy. Maybe he puts him out for the end of the year, and that's going to just hamper his own offseason too. So, it's one of those unfortunate incidents that's going to cost the Leafs in many ways. And yeah, it's just I don't know. I couldn't believe it. It was just crazy, turn of events that I don't think anybody saw coming, obviously.
So you mentioned that like it's something that we've come to expect with the Leafs. Like, do you not think that's a problem in and of itself?
Yeah, of course it's a problem, and I think that's something that a lot of people this season, especially, are beginning to understand and are beginning to address or try to address. Because, it's clear that when they're losing, when they're being beaten down, when they're getting hurt by other players, there just hasn't been that kind of emotional reaction or that passion towards trying to win the game, trying to win a battle, trying to show your dominance on the ice. And unfortunately, that's what's led to a disappointing season and is starting to show kind of what's held them back over the last
Yeah.
10 years, regardless of the success they've had in the regular season, which to me is fantastic. Most fans and most, obviously the organization, you would take that 10 out of 10 times just to be in those positions every year. But it's clearly showing that, that the fight that other teams have, people are going to point to the Florida Panthers, of course. Um, but that's a team that's won back-to-back Stanley Cups, and of course they have the talent, but they also have the determination and the passion to go out there and win in every aspect of the game. And I think that's something that the Leafs are lacking, and they're lacking that, you know, um, backup for one another, that teammate attitude. I'm sure the locker room isn't the
Hmm.
same as what you see in other teams. So it's just like I said, it's another moment in time where we're starting to see more and more about what this team's about and the problems that are, at the forefront.
Uh, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but for me, this was like the most embarrassing moment of the last 10 years. And more embarrassing than the game 7 loss last year.
Uh,
More embarrassing than, even if you wanna go back to 4-1, more embarrassing than that, but let's just keep it with this core. More embarrassing than anything we've ever seen with this core of the Toronto Maple Leafs, in my personal opinion.
yeah, and I guess I understand kind of where you're coming from, but I mean, it just kind of encapsulates this season as a whole, which has been obviously a failure, and obviously um, is just another moment where we kind of understand that this group was never going to be able to get it done, I guess. And yeah, like I guess it depends like what you mean by embarrassing. I think for me, like you brought up some of the losses, like that to me as a team is more embarrassing to be in position to win and to falter so many times. Um, but I guess I understand what you mean. But it's really only a couple guys can do anything about it. Like realistically, uh, the team later on, like other guys who got in the game, there's like you mentioned the 3 or 4 guys that were on the ice when Matthews hurt. They're the only guy. The guys on the bench, they can't like come out and do anything. They can only wait
No,
until
but
the next whistle or the next period. They really, I thought at least, went after some of the Ducks. Gudas was gone. He can't take revenge on him
yeah,
at that point. So I
I get
mean,
that.
as a team, I think individually, Morgan Riley and William Nylander, they've spoken on it. I guess Nylander didn't have as much to say. I thought Riley, did what he could to kind of address it after the game. But yeah, like that's something that they're gonna have to look back on, and they're gonna probably be embarrassed. You're right about that. But I mean, like for the Leafs as an organization, like I don't think it's like I don't know how if it's the most embarrassing moment that they've had over the last.
I don't know. It feels like the most embarrassing moment to me because your captain just gets injured on a dirty play, and it doesn't matter. You go look at all the rest of the teams, quote unquote teams that we talk about. It doesn't matter who's on the ice in those situations. If Connor McDavid goes down in Edmonton and Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent Hopkins on the ice or Leon Draisaitl's on the ice, do you not think that they're going after
Yeah,
the guy whoever hit him?
and I
And
totally
and
agree with that.
that's the problem. That's the problem here.
I know,
That's
but
why it's an embarrassment because
and that's
William
why you gotta
Nylander.
look at the guys on the ice, and that's what you're saying, I guess, is like
That's
and that's what I'm
what I'm
saying too,
saying.
is like the Morgan Rileys, the William Nylanders. I don't know what I think you said Easton Cowan was on the ice.
Easton
I
Cowan
don't know
was on
what
the ice and Brandon
I
Carlo.
don't know what he's gonna do as a Carlo absolutely as a veteran, that's not a good look at all. It's embarrassing, like you said, like somebody and especially if you take into that moment that nobody else has done anything. I know I hate to, I'm not defending anybody, but the logistics of the play to me as well, where like I mentioned, the referee like immediately understands what's happening and he basically grabs Gudis and takes him to the bench or to the penalty box.
Yeah,
I understand there's a immediate moment where yeah, a guy could have raced after him and who cares about the ref? You kind of just go for it. But I mean, it was just such a bang bang play. I know the guys talked that they didn't see the hit. I don't know how much you really believe that, but it's
it's
just one of
quite
those things.
interesting to
It
me
sucks,
that
but yeah, like those guys have to look back and say, "Could I have done anything differently to defend my captain? Could I have done it?" Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's where it's like
hey,
it's unfortunate. It just is such a disappointing and unfortunate thing, but
hey,
that's hockey sometimes, and it's gonna be interesting how this continues to evolve in terms of what they decide to do and how this affects what the rest of the season looks like. It's just it was such a turning. It could be a turning point. Um, I mean, there's been so many this year, it feels like, but it could be another one of those where it directly affects what they decide to do going forward.
I think it will. I think it should, and I think it will. I think, like, for William Nylander, you look at him and he says after the game, "I didn't see the hit," but he's the first one to put his hands up after the hit. Like,
No, that's what I mean.
how
Like,
he
I don't
didn't
know that I
see
believe
that,
that. Yeah.
like, I get that William Nylander's a great player, but people out there defending him, saying, "Oh, what did we expect? Like, William Nylander's not gonna do that." Like, it's okay, like, that does not excuse William Nylander of not doing anything in that situation. That does not excuse him of not doing anything. Like, just because you don't expect that out of William Nylander does not mean he should not do it. He most definitely should have been there last night. That's his captain. That's the guy he's been on the team with forever. And that's your response? You just skate around? Like, I don't understand that at all. Like, they talk about teams and clubs. Like, the Toronto Maple Leafs could not be further from the point of a team. They are the biggest definition of a hockey club that just don't care. It seems obvious that they're checked out on the season. I get that. It's a tough season. It sucks. But when your captain gets hit like that and you have no response, and I'm not talking about the guys on the bench because obviously, how are they supposed to do anything in that moment against Goose? But you see it with Tampa Bay. I remember a couple of years, Andre Vasilevsky barely got touched in the crease, and all five guys, it does not matter who's on the ice, go after that player on the ice. It does not matter. You see Connor McDavid last night get into a fight over, I'm pretty sure, Leon Draisaitl. Like, it's inexcusable. It's an embarrassment. That's your captain. And that's the way you guys respond to him? Like, I understand. William Nylander is a great player. He is a terrific offensive player. He can impact the game in so many ways when he's checked into the game. But after watching that last night, how can you sit there and defend him and say, yeah, I'd want him on my team to go win a Stanley Cup with? I don't see it. I don't see it. And I think, like I said, I think he's a tremendous player, but he's not someone who I think I want to go to battle with.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair criticism. And I mean, that's the thing. I think by people saying, oh, you don't expect that from Nylander, I don't think that's anyone excusing him. But I think that's just the way that people are feeling. They're so tired of it at this point that they almost like I said, they don't if you were to if he was to show some emotion and go after a guy like that, that would be the counter to what people think. So people would be even more shocked by that. So I think it's just one of those things where, yeah, like he might be the type of player that can only work in a system that's or a culture that's already so embodied that he can kind of just do his own thing. But in a situation where he should be looked upon as a leader, where that he is expected to maybe go the extra mile to help the team or to help a player, he clearly has shown that he's not willing to do that, and it's just unfortunate. And that's the kind of guy that he's proven to be time and time again. But I mean, what are you going to do at this point? Right now, they've got him locked up. You probably have the option to trade him at some point, but I mean, it's a tough look for the team in general. You're 100% right about that, and right now, I just can't get Auston Matthews off my mind. Like I need to know what's going on with him and when. I just can't
So
believe it.
yeah, I was talking to Christian before we recorded the podcast since he couldn't do it today. He had two thoughts. Like, basically, like, he last night was kind of defending, I would say, in the group chat, like, the Leafs response after the fact, which, sure, after the fact, the third period, good, great. It's not in the moment. You want a response in that moment. Like, that's all that anyone's ever going to talk about is you need a response in that moment. Um, and that he's numb to the fact that this is the way that it works on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that shouldn't be the way that it should be. But since it's been this way for so long, he's just numb to the fact that they weren't going to do anything in the first place. So he's not that mad about it. But looking back, he's not happy now. Like, he's thinking about it. And then, like, he asked the question to me, If William Nylander's the one on the ice and Auston Matthews is the one like that's in William Nylander's spot last night, do you think Auston Matthews goes after Gudas? I said no. I don't think Auston Matthews goes after Gudas there.
I don't know that he does either, to be honest.
I think it's just a whole team. I don't think it's just like, hey, it's an Austin like they're abandoning Auston Matthews there.
Well, no, I mean,
I think it's more so the whole team. It's a problem. This has
yeah,
been the problem for so long.
it is, and I think you mentioned the fact that obviously the season's lost and that changes the emotion. But you're right, like they've proven that in the past, even in successful seasons, even in playoff series, like guys get touched up and there's really no response. Like there really is no excuse for it. Like I don't think anyone's making the excuse, but you're right to say like to be numb by it. Guys are just tired of it and they don't know how to respond because we've just seen it so many times. And for whatever reason, this is just the way that the team keeps taking this, the direction, and that's the way it's going to be for now until they decide to make a major move and really shake up the culture of this organization. Really, like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Uh, two two 2 points is Matthew Nyes. In 2024 against Sam Reinhart and I think it was Sam Bennett that honestly gave him the concussion against the Florida Panthers in the playoffs. And then last year, Anthony Stolarz against Sam Bennett.
Yeah, that's
Sure,
the one I think of. Yeah.
both are not the best plays by Sam Bennett. But guess what? No one on the Toronto Maple Leafs did a damn thing about it. So it went unpunished. Like, if it's any other team, I feel like Sam Bennett isn't making out of that series without something massively wrong with him because they're going after him each and every game for making that play. But the Toronto Maple Leafs just seem that they don't care. They don't care, and that's the biggest issue. And I think that's probably what Craig Berube said. Like it was embarrassing last night. It was not great. It was not a good look. I'm sure he reamed them out in the locker room afterwards. If that happened during his like actual time in the NHL, I'm sure like I mean this is obviously just like over the top, but like I'm sure some players might have been cut the next day.
Maybe yeah. I mean, I guess I know what you're saying, but I do wonder though, and I don't like. I know it's not going to change your mind about the moment. I get that, but they do get a chance. They should get a chance to take some retribution at Gudis. I think they play on like, is it March 30th? I think or they got them coming up.
I honestly don't
They got them
remember
coming
what
up. I
day it
know they
is.
have them on the schedule. So I mean, if and it might not be anybody important, but if they send out Michael Pizzetta again and he's out there and he takes on Gudis on the first drop of the puck, I mean, that's going to
It
send some sort
doesn't.
of message going forward. That's all you can do. You shouldn't do nothing just because you didn't do nothing before, right? You got to start
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. But it's not just like, oh, we're gonna send out the fourth line guy that's making his debut, and
But they're
like
not gonna
just
put any of their
being in
other
the
guys
league.
in danger. You're not gonna send out William Nylander now and Berube is gonna give him
Yeah,
a mandate to fight. That's what
now.
I'm saying. Like
But
you
in the
gotta start
moment,
but
should he
sure,
have been in
yeah.
there?
Yeah, of course. I think at the very least you like I get it. Gudis is probably the toughest guy on the ice. And Nylander is not gonna step up and drop his gloves with him necessarily. But the fact that nobody even went gave him exactly,
Near
and
him.
even verbally are trying to, give him something, try to like it just that was the weirdest thing to me. I get nobody's gonna go up and take him on one like that to me. I think is sort of an argument that nobody should be making, but you definitely
Yeah,
need to get on him, to be pushing him, to be verbally abusing him, giving him the crap that he deserves for what was clearly a dirty hit. Like it's defensible that didn't happen. So I mean, like that's what it comes
yeah,
down to. But now I think that's what I mean when you talk about a turning point for a team. At least, and I'm sure Berube will be preaching this like the next time they play, and I'm pretty sure it is on. Um, Actually, no, that seems too soon. I'll go double check on that. But they play coming up, and I'm sure Berube is going to be telling somebody, if not multiple guys, to be going after him to show that this team doesn't take that kind of thing lying down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was his message after the period. And that's probably why I think there was a bit of a delay, like, which is so even crazier. Like, people talk about the third period, they really responded. It's like, well, the hit there was still like 6 or 7 minutes left in the second period, if I'm not mistaken, and there wasn't really much of a physical response there either. So
No.
it really took, I guess, a Berube maybe tongue lashing, because I'm sure he saw exactly what you saw and like what everyone saw, and was just as upset about it. And you saw some guys like you talked about East Cowan, like he went
Yeah.
out, dropped the gloves the third period. That's all you can ask a guy to do, right? Like, I mean, what else can you do at that point? So,
He heard the message that was delivered in the intermission.
and again, that's just about setting the culture. And if you go into another game against the Ducks and you have the opportunity to send that message again, I think that benefits some guys that you think are going to be here long term, like an Easton Cowan. Um, that I can't even speak on how many other guys, because there's like not many that they might
Yeah.
have long term at this point. So you got to start somewhere and building that kind of culture and showing that you're not going to be a team that just lays over, whether you're good or bad, because those kind of messages, even when they're bad, they got to start. And that helps. Obviously, you're going to grow into hopefully a good team again, and those messages stick around, and that helps you build character towards winning a championship, hopefully.
Yep. Yep. I there's not much else to really say on this topic because yeah, it's been brutal.
Yeah,
Um, it's not been the best look. So for NHL talk, I think like we just can leave it there. I think I'm ready to go on to the NFL and just
just
talk
quickly,
about
it is
something.
March 30th. They play in Anaheim.
30th,
Yeah,
30th. Okay,
that is about 10
that's
games
a
from now for the
West
Leafs.
Coast trip. I would
Yeah.
say Gudis is probably gonna get 5 games.
Yeah, well, they with the
So
hearing, I guess, over the phone, um, it sounds like it'll be less than 5, yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
My initial thought was 2 or 3, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, that seems about fair. I think probably 3
I know a lot of people
seems
wanted them
about
to throw
fair.
the book at him because 'cause he's got, I think, like, a
Yeah,
6 and a 10 game already, but, like,
yeah.
I don't I don't know.
It's hard. It's definitely hard, especially for a team that's leading the specific division right now. Or I think they're leading this. I think they're leading the
Well,
division still. If not, they're losing by 1 point.
yeah, because
But
the Oilers won last night, right, I think? Does that have anything to do with it?
no, the Oilers lost 7-2 to Dallas last night.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, that was a brutal game in and of itself. Tristan Jarry obviously just continues his struggles, and it's not a great look for the Edmonton Oilers right now. But anyway, we'll move on to the NFL. NFL free agency. A lot happened. The Max Crosby trade. We'll start there. Max Crosby gets dealt to the Baltimore Ravens last Friday for 2 first-round picks on Tuesday night, or I think actually Monday night. No, no,
When
no, it was Tuesday. Tuesday. I'm just getting my days mixed up here. Tuesday night, Max Crosby gets told that he's not going to be a Baltimore Raven because he failed their physical, and they are nixing the trade with the Las Vegas Raiders, and he will become a Raider once again. So the Baltimore Ravens get back their 2 first-round picks without getting Max Crosby, but instead turn their attention to probably, I would say, the biggest pass rusher available in free agency this year in Trey
Yeah.
Henderson, and get a deal done within 13 hours of this news breaking that they would be nixing the trade in the first place with the Las Vegas Raiders. Everyone is very, very skeptical of the situation. They don't believe the Ravens did this for simply just an injury related thing. They think they saw a chance to get out of there, and they has had cold feet about the trade after making it, and they elected to basically call it quits. And it was a physical that he was obviously going to fail because he had surgery just 2 months ago, and the knee obviously isn't like healed immediately yet. So yeah, it was obviously going to fail in the first place. And everyone thought that, you already knew that that was going to be happening because everyone knew the situation with Max Crosby going in. It wasn't a shocker to hear, oh wait, Max Crosby had surgery, he's got to recover. Um, so the Baltimore Ravens essentially got 2 first round picks and Trey Henderson for Max Crosby, essentially. If you want to think about it in reverse order. Um, so a lot of people are skeptical. Brandon, are you one of those
Uh,
people?
well, first of all, I'm not thinking about it like that. Uh,
I know, but that's the way I've been
uh,
heard. I've heard it like said, and I'm like, I don't agree with that either because like technically you had those 2 first round picks. You just added Trey Anderson. That's all you really did.
yeah, for me, I mean, I think I don't think the health of Max Crosby had much to do with this at all. I think it's about as blunt as I can put it. For me, the Ravens, an organization who has never traded a first round pick, went ahead and made, I guess, an impulsive decision to trade two for a guy that I think that everybody still expects to get back to, his full form. His doctor, I guess, came out afterwards, which I thought was hilarious, and tried to boost, I guess, his own work in this situation. And for me, I think they just got the cold feet, and that's what seems to be going around. That they'd rather have the two first round picks and potentially sign the guy that nobody else has been able to sign yet, who plays a similar position and is a similar player and
He's not
can
Max Crosby, but he's
no
80% or
yeah
75% of Max
yeah.
Crosby.
And if you can have him and two first round picks versus just Max Crosby, I mean, if you hit on those picks, it's a pretty easy decision, and I think that's what they ended up doing. Maybe they were just surprised that there were no rumors Hendrickson has signed somewhere else, so they decided to take the leap. I guess they probably found out they had the inside track there, and that was kind of the way it went. I mean, it's unfortunate. I think it's funny that was it the GM there in Baltimore, DaCosta. He was like, "Oh, we wanted both." Well,
Yeah.
that's
No
hard to
one's more
believe too.
upset than me.
Yeah,
No one's more upset than me.
yeah.
That's just basically saying, that felt like saying like, "Damn, we didn't get this guy. I really wish we had him, but we can't have him anymore. I really wish we had him," like kind of thing. Um, I Do you think it's greasy? Do you think the Baltimore Ravens get business in the future now or no?
Well, I don't think they lose business. I think it's the NFL. When you're trying to you're trying to win a Super Bowl, a lot of teams are going to make deals regardless of who they're trading with. We see a lot of in division moves all the time. I think that, maybe maybe this season, there's a little bit of that, but I don't expect it to be a long term thing. I think it is. I think it's a bit of a greasy move for sure. I don't know. I don't like it. If I was a GM of another team, or I'd be pretty upset at this. But
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing's official, I mean,
That's the thing.
what
Nothing was official,
and
and
and that's the whole thing with this tampering period too. Like, not to say that this obviously had nothing to do with it. Um, this is a trade. This doesn't have anything to do with that. But it's clearly become a mandate in the NFL that this kind of reporting, this kind of deals, these kind of deal making is okay and is fair game. And I think that's yeah, the Ravens are not going to be penalized in any way for this. Like, I mean, it's only a greasy move by reputation. It's not going to be anything
yeah,
that sticks to anybody's record or that seems, it gets officially dealt with. So it's another one of those tough situations where I think people know how they feel about it, but I don't think anyone officially is going to speak on it that way, obviously. So
yeah, I would agree. I don't think anyone's going to in the future just pick up the phone from the Baltimore Ravens and go, "We're not going to talk business with you at all because you did what you did." I do think that people will be skeptical, and they will, if they make a trade, they won't be doing it in this kind of tampering season anymore with them. Probably, I would say it has to be something that goes through immediately. And yeah, if it is medical reasons, Baltimore has all the right in the world. That is their right to do that. But if it's not medical reasons, that is not a good look
well, and
whatsoever.
my understanding is that they had the medicals, I think, for a while. I think it wasn't like they received them on Monday and then they immediately made the call as soon as they saw them. I'm pretty sure they had been consulting with some of their doctors early on in the process and had an understanding that he was, in no real medical
Yeah,
danger. So that's, I think, again,
yeah,
just more evidence to show that the team maybe just was, yeah, again, just got that last minute kind of cold feet. They had, was, I guess at that point it was like 36 hours or less than 24 hours. I think it was Monday, but maybe it was Tuesday.
Well,
Um,
once you make the trade, the team doctors get on a phone call and they exchange medical information.
and that's what I
Like
mean. Like,
that's a
and
given.
then so for it to be 3, 4 days later, and then they're starting to say, "Oh, now the medicals we're afraid of that." Like that's to me unrealistic. So that's just kind of the way it goes, I guess. And we'll see, yeah, how what the repercussions are, kind of silently as the year goes on. And but I don't know.
I'll tell you this, I don't hate Max Crosby on the Raiders now.
Well, they went
Since
out,
they
yeah,
went
they went out and spent
and
a
paid a
ton of money.
bunch of
Yeah,
money, like,
yeah.
I don't hate him on the Raiders, especially with Mendoza. I think that could honestly be good this year. Not great, but, like, good.
No, I mean
First
it's
good step.
it's very fair. Like if they do somehow kind of create a sneaky good offense here, they're going to need players on defense to help them out as well. And he's a guy that we know he can get to the quarterback, he can stop the run. Like why if they end up not getting an offer for him that they think is valid, why not just keep him around another year or whatever? It's insane how
Yeah,
long this saga has gone on, but like yeah, I mean you're trying to win football games, so I mean he's a player that can help you do that.
I would agree. Um, Elsewhere, I would say Kyler Murray is a big one. Signed with the Minnesota Vikings, 1 year. Obviously a quarterback that was decent, like, not one of the worst in the NFL during his time with Arizona, but obviously wasn't the best, especially at the end of it. Um, what do you think of the deal? Do you think Kyler is gonna be fixed, I guess? Is it that the proper term for him?
I mean, honestly, I don't really see this as much of a needle mover for the Minnesota Vikings. I kind of expect Kyler to kind of be the same. Um, I know going over there with Kevin O'Connell, it's probably going to be a good mesh. Maybe they figure some things out, but I mean, I don't know. There's something about him now that I just don't. I don't know. Unless he's going to turn into that guy who's going to run for 75 yards a game. Like, I mean, that's very possible, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't know if I really trust him anymore. So I don't if he gets out to a hot start, it'd be interesting, but it's gonna be tough in that division. Um, you're gonna have some outdoor games. I don't think he's got a very good record in that situation. So I mean, when it comes,
I don't see it working that great. Like,
no,
I think that they believe in 9 and that's the team, that's who they want to go with forward or going forward. Kyler's there for some competition and for a good backup role. If
so
anything, this is a year where, like, it's like the Sam Darnold in San Fran, like, just a
yeah.
year of, like, learning, you know what I mean? Like, a year of understanding and through a good offense, a good system.
So you expect
Yeah, he might play, but
so you expect JJ to be the starter week 1, I assume.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
He might he might win the starting battle, but, like, I think that best thing for Kyler is just to take a year and learn, and then if you have to play, you play, but if you
yeah.
don't have to play, you just learn, and that might be the best thing. That's what Sam Darnold did in San Fran. He did not play. He just learned underneath Kyle Shanahan's system. Then he obviously goes to Kevin O'Connell's system, and then he goes to Mike McDonald in Seattle, and he's a Super Bowl champion. I honestly think, yeah, it's just it's one of those signings that you think about and you're like, it makes sense, like, in terms of, like, fit and stuff, and it's just, do you believe that he can be someone good anymore? That's kinda what it comes down to. But yeah, other signings around the NFL, did anything jump off the page to you, like, of any team that did something, in free agency?
Uh, I mean, to me, honestly, the two surprising ones, and not really that this team kept their assets, but more so how much they paid for them, was how much the Colts ended up spending on Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. That to me was the most the most surprising
Yeah,
thing for sure. Daniel Jones, I think, getting like 50 million in year one. This year coming off what do you have, an ACL or an Achilles? Yeah,
Achilles, snapped
that's
his Achilles.
insane to me that they're giving him that much money. But I mean, that's the price for a quarterback, and then yeah, for a high talented wide receiver in a weaker market, they paid Alec Pierce a ton of money too, and I think we'll see if that hamstrings them coming up. I don't know if people really see them as a contender at this point anyway. So to me, that was one of the more head scratching moves. I mean,
I think I would agree with Alex Pierce. Like Alex Pierce, there's no
yeah,
way that he should be making
yeah,
that much money. He's a good receiver, don't get me wrong.
yeah.
Good receiver. Does he deserve that much money per year? No. And I think that's what a lot of teams probably backed out at the end and just like ran up the price and the culture. I'm sure that they're happy that the Colts are paying that instead of them.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I mean, I've obviously been paying closer attention to what the Bills have been doing, and they've been kind of interesting, I would say, not very positive in terms of the ins and outs, I would say. I mean, the DJ Moore move, in a vacuum, I like it. They paid a little bit too much for him maybe with that second, but you look at some of the other moves. Bradley Chubb, in theory, is a good move. A guy who can maybe stuff up the run. That was their biggest weakness last year. But they paid him a lot too. But I mean, I guess at this point, they're not looking to add much more. So if they can pay what they can, the CJ Gardner Johnson move, again, I don't
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I think he played 13 games last year. He can probably help them, especially that they moved off of other guys like that were playing better. Obviously, Taron Johnson, to lose a guy like him is unbelievable. So yeah, like I don't know what to think right now, but we'll have to see what they look like coming out of camp. I don't know. What do you think so far? Do you like the Dobbs move?
So I think he's a good number two. I just don't think he's a good number one. If that's all that the Patriots are gonna get in terms of receiver, I think it's a problem still for them. The biggest head scratcher to me is honestly Mike Evans
For sure, I
going
get
to
that.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Not because of the talent or anything like that. It's just like the constant health every year, and then like a team that always gets hurt, it seems like, or always has injury problems is the San Francisco 49ers. For whatever reason, maybe it is the substations. I have no idea. But
I
it just
love the
doesn't
memes.
seem, yeah, it just doesn't seem like the best team for him to go to. I was shocked by that one,
Yeah.
to be completely honest. And another one that I don't really like, and I think it's a not as great signing, is Kenneth Walker going to the Chiefs.
You know
I
what?
don't.
I actually like that move a lot for them.
Why do you
Yeah.
like it?
I think he's a good back, and I think that if they decide to use him in ways that will be positive for them and not give him the ball, I guess what I would say. I think he can be
Mhm.
a real help to that offense. I really do. I'm not like
Okay.
but again, it's up to Andy Reid at this point to use him in a way that works. But I actually think that that's a good move for them, and I don't think it's going to. It can't move them backwards. But who was going to be their back? Like Kareem Hunt again? Like what? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, no, 100%, like, they need a better back, but
He's a
to
good
pay
player.
that
He's a good
much,
player.
I don't love
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, you gotta look from their perspective. I mean, there wasn't much else out there, and they have no real
Mhm.
assets to trade for a guy who can really help them. Maybe they were gonna hit on a draft pick or two, but I think they got a guy I think that was pretty coveted. I think there were other teams that really would have wanted to have him. It's just yeah, it would have cost teams too much, but I don't know. I'm not saying the Chiefs are back or nothing, or they're going to be even a good team next year. I mean, they've had some losses on defense too
Yeah.
that are probably going to be pretty impactful. But I like that move in a vacuum. I guess I'm saying.
Yeah. I guess, like, you can argue it, and I understand the reasoning behind it. I just don't like the fit, and it comes down to what Andy Reid's gonna do
Yeah,
with him.
yeah. Because it's
I
not
don't
like
love the
Mahomes is
fit.
gonna he's not gonna go under center and just hand the ball off to Kenneth Walker. Like that's not gonna be
Yeah.
the play. But I think if you can get creative enough, maybe there's a little bit of pistol in there or something that you can help get the run game going. That's been one of the Chiefs' Achilles heels over the last couple of years is they haven't been able to run the ball very well. So if they can just address that in some way, their offense should be able to kind of get a bit of a
Yeah.
boost. Yeah,
Yeah, I understand, and I can see the reasoning. I not for me
that's fair.
personally. Um, is there anything else from NFL free agency that like really jumped off the page from you in terms of like it doesn't even have to be someone that signed, just like news out of the last week that has like caught you off guard per se.
I wouldn't say off guard, but I would say that the news, I guess, that they're gonna potentially play another game on the Thanksgiving week, ahead of Black Friday and everything. I think that to me has been something that is interesting. I think, and this is just me spitballing, but I do. This is it, the way that they're going. It's starting to make me think that they're gonna eventually move off of the 3-day week that they have going, I guess.
Mhm.
I think it's
I
gonna be
agree.
whether it's a couple of years from now or 5, 10 years from now, I think
Yep.
eventually you're gonna see a world where there's football played on, like, 5 days a week, every week.
Yep.
Like, that's I
And
think
I don't like that.
I don't as a sports fan, I don't hate it. I like having sports as often as I can.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it
But
but I think it will eventually get to a point where it diminishes Sunday football or where it diminishes kind of the specialty of what NFL has become, and I think that's unfortunate, but I think in today's day and age where you kinda want that constant entertainment and with ad revenues, I'm sure they can get m
yeah.
more and more money all the time if they're putting more games in prime time slots, like, it's just the way that things are going, but that's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot as I heard that news, I guess.
I I would agree with it. I think it's gonna happen. I think that they're probably gonna expand and continue to add more days and
Yeah.
play regular season games on days Monday through Sunday. Like it's going to happen. Do I think it's a great idea? No. I think like you said, the specialty of the NFL is the fact that they are the only sports league where like obviously they have one game on Thursday night and one game on Monday night, but every other game is played on Sunday. And that's the specialty of the NFL that they captured something that's rare. Like not that football fans will stop watching or like not have time, but I feel like every single person doesn't have as much time as what I think the NFL thinks they might have in terms of like being able to watch every single night. And I think that's like something like that is good for the NFL in terms of like separating them from the NHL, NBA, MLB is the fact that it's spread out and it's like a rare game. Like once a week you have this game. And then like, for the rest of the week, it just builds up to Sunday, like, you know what I mean? Or a Thursday or Monday
Yeah,
night if you play that early game or late camp.
yeah.
Um,
And it
and
obviously
it's
sucks for
some
the players too, like the
yeah,
scheduling and having to deal with that, like the change in, having multiple games on different days throughout a season, I'm sure is difficult. We're seeing so many international games now, like I
yeah.
can only imagine the type of grind that these guys go through and the amount of obviously, pain that they take each season. Like they to not have the kind of the not necessarily the maximum amount of time, but like the necessary amount of time to recoup, to have practice time, to do everything that these guys need to do to perform. Like it does seem like the NFL is trying, a little too hard to do something that, yeah, it doesn't really move the needle that much. Like,
Sometimes, like, you hear stories of guys that play on Sunday and they can't walk until Tuesday morning.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
it's a rough game, and guys put their bodies through a lot of crap, and, you know, sticking with the 1 day a week helps, this out. Like, it does. It helps their bodies out, and it makes and it keeps what the NFL has special, in my personal opinion. Um, Other than that, I think that's really it for the NFL. The NFL, there's so much coming up still with the NFL. There's so many big guys that have yet to sign, as well that we expect to come off the board here in the coming
Oh,
days.
there is one more thing I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, sure.
What did you think of Travis Kelce returning to
Oh,
the Chiefs? I mean, it's not really
I
I don't think it's much of a big deal, but, like, obviously in,
yeah. Am I shocked? No. I figure this will be the last one though.
I
I
think
think he
you
just
go
can't let
through
it
all of
go.
this, I think you can't do it again. I would agree with you. Yeah, but
I think he just can't let it go right now. He probably got close this offseason, but there was something that just like made him feel like, oh, we just missed the playoffs. Like I can't go out like that.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, and I do wonder, like, if they think internally, like, "Yeah, we got one more shot at this kinda thing as a group, so maybe that's it." But, yeah, I don't know.
They probably have more than one more shot with Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, Travis
But I think
Kelsey, like
with him, yeah, like, with the I would say the
Chris
4 of
Jones is
them.
also
Yeah,
aging,
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, and, but I gotta admit, I was a bit surprised. I really thought he was gonna retire. Yeah.
Why is that?
I
Why
don't know,
did you
I
think he
just
was gonna retire?
whenever you hear the smoke like that, to me, there's some fire, and I just thought, like, I thought he would prolong it, and then, like, near the sometime in the summer, he would do some big retirement thing, like, that's kind of how I saw it, but I guess he's gonna come back, and they're gonna do
Well, they
probably.
had to know, right? Like,
Yeah,
they
that's
had to
true,
make a
yeah.
decision, off of, so
Yeah, that's fair.
that's something that I think about. Um,
Alright, I'm
yeah.
done.
w You done? Uh, let's move on to the NBA
Yeah.
and this controversial 83-point game that, even though it's 83 points and it should be celebrated because someone just became the second greatest scorer, or second greatest single game scoring in the history of the NBA. It's being talked about like it's nothing great and it's fraudulent. Um, where do you stand on Bam's 83-point performance?
Well, I mean, first of all, shout out to Bam, good for him, he's got the record. Well, not even the record, I guess I shouldn't even say that, he's got he beat Kobe, that's what he did, really, realistically. Um, yeah, I don't know, I don't like it. I, uh I'm not gonna say it's fraudulent, but I hate the way that it went down, that's what I will say. I give Bam all the credit in the world for, like, the first 42, 43 minutes of that game. He was just doing
Yeah,
everything he could to score the basketball. That's what the NBA is. But something happened near the end of that game that devolved into something that isn't, NBA basketball to me, and that was the I guess it's nothing more than just kind of like the selfishness of the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, the decision to keep, not only just pushing Bam to do this, basically, it felt like, but the decisions to challenge calls up 25 points, the decisions to intentionally foul the Washington Wizards to get the ball back and to give Bam opportunities to do this. Um, basically the guys on the Heat just handing Bam the ball from three, and he's just chucking ball. Like, it just turned into what like felt like kind of a schoolyard game, and it didn't feel like.
unethical.
Yeah, and I've heard that thrown around, and I think that is a very fair way to describe what happened. And again, like, it's just one of those things that you can't believe it. I was sitting there, I had, like, he's up to, like, 77 points, and I think there's, like, again, like, 5 minutes left in the game, and I had no choice but to turn this on, and I just hated everything that I saw, and it was just so disappointing, I think, I was hoping so badly that he wouldn't get to 81, and then when he got to 81, I was like, "Oh, maybe you try to take him out, like, I don't know, preserve like, do something of good faith," and it just kept getting worse and worse, and I was so disappointed. And I look back on what Kobe did, and it was such a different style of basketball, it was such a different game, and people want to say, "Oh, well, they were just feeding Kobe the ball. They knew he was going to shoot." And it's like, well, it was a close game. They needed every bucket that he was getting. That Lakers team wasn't very good either. Um, so I mean, it was just a whole different level of basketball. And those Raptors teams were trying hard to stop him, and they were just not capable of doing so that night. And this just felt like something that wasn't the same to me. And that's just the way that I saw it, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. He had 43 points at half, which is crazy in and of itself. Like, the first half, he was like, phenomenal. You can't
Absolutely. And that was
discredit
just,
that.
they were just playing. So I get, like, that's what it was.
Third quarter, the game was still really close, and he had 62 after three, and until midway through the fourth quarter, like, it was like you said, it was a good game. Like, there was nothing anyone could take away from it.
Yeah.
And then all the free throws and extending the game happened, and to get him to 83, it felt like it wasn't obviously fixed, but it felt like it was like, oh, we're gonna do everything we possibly can to get him to break this record. Or not even record, but come in second
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Um and so it you look at the free throws attempts, and this is the big thing. He took 43 free throw attempts and made 36 of them. And I get it.
Which I think are both
They're
the
both
most of all
records.
time, yeah.
They're
So,
both records. Kobe had what,
it was like 20,
18. He
right?
made
18 to
eight,
20 or
yeah,
something? Yeah, yeah.
18 to 20 in his 81 game.
Crazy.
That's where it, like, I'm like, yeah, is he now the guy that finishes with 83 points and he goes down in the history books the second overall? Yeah, but Kobe's 81 is still more impressive to me because he did it with 20 less free throw attempts or 23 less free throw attempts and basically half the makes at the line.
Yeah.
So it's don't get me wrong, it's impressive. I am super impressed. Congratulations to Bam for getting the job done. But there's just always going to be something where it's like, it's not an 83 to me. It's not like a proper 83. It's like a proper like 75 or something like that,
Yeah.
which is amazing, but it's not a proper 83 to me. It's an unethical 83. And that's the way it's always going to be looked at for me. The one thing I think I'll add on it is like when looking at like Wilt's, you look at Wilt scoring 100 points, you look at Kobe scoring 81 points, and those names make sense. Like those names, you think about it and you're like, okay, like I
Yeah.
can see those guys going off for big games. Bam Adebayo is not a name that people are going to sit down and remember, at least not at this point in his career, for being one of the best scorers of all time, being one of the best players of all time. But he's the guy now that has 83 points in a game. And that's the part that's like, oh, like it's not like you're happy for him, but it's like that's so weird to look at. Like when it says Will, Bam, and then Kobe, because like if it said Luca or if it said Devin Booker, like that would make sense, right? Like or James Harden, something like
Yeah.
that, who
Kevin
like is
Durant, like
an
guys that can
elite,
just score.
yes,
Yeah.
an elite scorer in the NBA that can get hot and absolutely torch a team. For sure. But for Bam to do it, it just doesn't seem right. So that's
Yeah.
where I sit with it.
No, I agree. And I think what you said about the game, like feeling like it was fixed, like, yeah, I would agree. I don't think like fixed is the right word, but if they hadn't have like manipulated the game to that level, there's no like he might have still been able to do it. Who knows? Maybe he hits one of those threes that he's chucking up, like you never know.
He checked up 22 threes.
But like realistically, without extending the game, like you said, and without, ensuring that you were gonna get the ball back so many times, I don't think he was gonna do it. And if he had 77 or whatever, like, yeah, that's the third or fourth best game in the NBA history. It's like, why wasn't it good enough to just play it out as it should be? And like that's the unfortunate thing is like, and whatever, however you feel about Kobe, it just felt like they were targeting that number and they were going to do whatever was necessary to pass it. And Spoelstra says he wouldn't go back and change it. Fine, whatever. But like he was just as much a part of it with the decisions he was making as the coach. So I think it could have lasting effects on how people look at this game. But I mean, a lot of people are in love with it and think it's amazing that he did this in
Yeah.
general, and they don't care that they did whatever. And it's
It's
just
cool.
to
It's
each their own.
cool.
Yeah.
And you have to give him credit to make for 36 free throws. Like it's
Yeah,
impressive.
the free throws I don't really blame him on either. Like that's more on the Wizards. Like what are you doing to just like they don't know how to play good defense? Like if that's never happened before in the NBA,
And
it's not like
and
it's Bam's fault. And or the refs.
and
Like I don't know. What are you
they
gonna call 'em?
were they were fouls.
Yeah, like
Like
a
if
lot
you
of
go
people
back
went
and
back.
watch
Yeah.
them, like
Yeah.
they're not just like gimmicky calls. They're bad plays by the Wizard
Yeah.
and they gave up
Yeah, and he was
proper
he was
fouls.
that was the thing. It's like the 31 in the first quarter. Like he was bullying them early. Like it's not like he was going back to the line in the fourth quarter every time they were down the floor. Like he was shooting a good volume throughout the game, but it was like you said that first half where he was really starting to pile it on, and that's when it kind of became clear that hey, he was going to have a chance to do this. It's just yeah, like the fourth quarter was just something completely different.
Mhm. I agree. And then last night he goes out and has 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's
well, what was his career high before he'd never had a 40-point game or something, right? Before last
no, he had like one or two
did he?
a
Okay.
lot this
Yeah.
year, last year, and yeah,
Crazy.
it's his average though, if I'm not mistaken, his season average is just 20 points per game now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
even with that bounce.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's
What do you think is more impressive, that 83 or what Shea's done here
Shea,
with the 20
Shea,
plus point streak? Yeah, I would
Shea,
agree.
100%.
Yeah.
That's just That's consistency at being the greatest
Yeah.
in your prime. Like, it's just at another level.
Well, and I made this point this morning
Um,
with some of the guys at the Fan. It's like Shea actually broke Wilt's record. Like Bam didn't even break a record. Like hypothetically, like he passed Kobe, that's great. But
yeah,
if we, Wilt's record's still there, whereas Shea's breaking Wilt's records that people assume are pretty much unbreakable. So,
yeah.
um, to me, it's definitely that one. And I wonder how long he can go. That's kind of been my question too. Is like he's going to set what could be another insurmountable record. Like, well, unless next game he's probably going to drop 19 or something for some reason, and then that's going to be over. But hopefully he doesn't get
Uh,
hurt or nothing. That's the only thing it feels like that can prevent him from continuing the record for a
Scoring
while.
20 at this point
Yeah.
in the league.
So easy for
Yeah,
him. Yeah.
yeah, yep. You are right. We can touch on this very briefly. World Baseball Classic coming up tonight, quarterfinals. Gonna be done before this is probably out, but uh, Canada, US. If Canada wins, do we get bragging rights until like the next big sporting event that Canada and US play in, or is it still like doesn't matter because they lost in hockey kind of deal?
Well, I mean, it will still depend on the specific sport, I guess I'll say. I mean, it'll definitely feel good for Canadians, if Canada can pull off this upset, I guess, and beat the States. I mean, it will definitely give us a little bit back from that Olympic losses, both the men's and women's hockey teams. But I think, when it comes to hockey still, like people will still be waiting for that next chance, right? Like
Oh yeah,
it's not gonna mend anyone's broken hearts or anything, but it will definitely
yeah.
feel pretty good, I think, especially given the circumstances to have a, kind of a plucky Canadian team here, potentially take down a giant in the States who are just as
Hmm.
pretty much lucky to be here at this point, it feels like. So,
Oh yeah,
um,
they are extremely lucky
yeah,
to be
so
there.
I mean, I'm gonna be rooting for the Canadians pretty hard tonight, but if they win, I can't say I won't be shocked.
Mm. Okay, well, I don't really have anything else to add because it's gonna be over by the time this is out. So thank you for listening to episode 54. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. Drop a subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, TikTok, or everywhere. So yeah, we hope you have a great weekend. We hope you have a great next week. And March Madness is just around the corner. We'll be talking about that next week, along with the NHL, NBA, NFL, and potentially some more golf talk, as we will have the first winner of I guess, the fifth major is what we call this, the players. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting week next week. We'll talk to you then and have a great day. Peace.